What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, joined by AC. We are here with the Gridiron Gamble of the Bottom Line View here for week number 6. We're going to make some picks against the spread. We're going to give you 4 to 5 games that we think are your best bets this week to make some money in the NFL. I think recently we've been doing a little bit better, at least speaking for myself. I'm sure AC the same way. Usually after the first couple of weeks, you start to figure out who's good, who's not good. But still at this point in this NFL season, I still really don't know who's good and who's not good. I will give you credit though, AC. It looks like the Eagles are one of those good teams.
Yeah, no, it's, I'm a guy, because I've seen so many losing seasons and I've seen so many great starts that I'm still week by week. I like what I'm watching. It's nice to watch a game every Sunday, or this week, Thursday. It's nice to watch a game and see them win. We'll see what they're doing. They've improved a lot of what they needed to improve on. Their defense looks really good. Their secondary, there's been a couple of pickups, like Patrick Robinson is looking really good in that scheme. Jalen Mills is, in my opinion, yes, he'll still give up at least 2 stupid PI calls a game, but he, in my opinion, is maybe one of the most improved players on this team, because he is a guy going against the number 1 matchup each week. And then what can you say about Carson Wentz and that whole offense on third down, man? I've never seen in third down a team like this on third down. It's very Brady Rodgers-like, where on third down, they could get it. There was a stat that said 3rd and 10, 3rd and long, they're 45%. The league average is 19% on 3rd and long, and they're 42% this season. So it's all working. It's all going well. We'll see what happens. You can't really sustain this the whole year, but I am very confident now that they're going to be a playoff team, and it'd be nice, maybe, who knows, get a home field game in there at some point in the playoffs.
Ooh, big things coming for the Eagles, according to AC. We'll see if his picks live up to the hype like the Eagles.
Well, no, and then for this show, I'm 4-1 the last 2 weeks. 4-1 against the spread in my 5 picks.
And a lot of that has to do with the Eagles.
Yes, to a certain extent. I haven't taken them.
You picked them a
week.
few times.
I picked them a few times. But when I look at the games, it's still, they've had some tough games, but some easy spreads. But I think in general, when you're picking only 4 or 5 games against the spread, it's easy to pick the ones that are probably more of a lock than your team, right? Probably same with the Patriots. When you look at the league and what you've seen,
because you know the team the best.
Yeah, you know the team the best, and things happen. But looking at all these other games, there's been way more locks that haven't been the Eagles. You know what I mean? I'll always be cheering for the Eagles, but like this week, there's so many more games that I'd take. And going into Thursday, if the Eagles were playing Carolina tomorrow, it would be really hard to still take the Eagles against Carolina to put big money on. Obviously, if you did, you lucked out. But I still don't think I would have put some big money on that game on Thursday.
Okay, let's get into your picks. Let's start off with your first big pick. Again, we go 4 picks each, and then we'll give you a 5th out of nowhere kind of pick. A couple times it's worked out. A couple times it hasn't worked out. Of course, we know what happened with the Washington-Kansas City pick. But anyways, AC, let's go with that first number 1 bet that you think everyone should be putting money on this week.
Yeah, we talked about it. It's the Lions 4.5 going into New Orleans. They're plus 4.5, which I don't know. New Orleans has been playing a lot better as of late. Their defense seems to be a bit better. It's going to be interesting to see what their offense looks like without having to force Peterson with some carries, because I think they need to go back to getting Ingram the ball more, and then now having just a 2-back system rather than 3, because I think that was kind of effing things up for their offense. I think Snead's back, right? Or was he back last week? But he's back again this week.
He is back this game, but he didn't play last week. Like he was back last week. He wasn't suspended, but he didn't play. This week he's supposed to play. They're off a bye. So
yeah. So I think that that's gonna help them out. But for Detroit, their offense is so potent, and I think we've seen the last couple weeks it's kind of dipped down from what we saw at the start of the season. But I think they picked this up again because New Orleans, yes, that defense has been played better. They have a decent front 7, but their secondary is still, in my opinion, so I think Stafford's going to be able to to throw the ball against them, and then, it's going to be a shootout. But when I see 4.5 against a team on paper I think's already better, I know New Orleans at home is a different team, but it's in the Dome, which Detroit's used to that. Their offense is used, and their whole team's used to playing in a dome, fast-paced. So I do like Detroit plus 4.5. And you know what I mean? 4.5 too. If this is a shootout, this could be a field goal game. So I'll still take the money if New Orleans wins by 3.
Yeah, so I think that New Orleans has a good chance of winning this game. Although I did pick Detroit to win straight up, I think that New Orleans does have a good shot. They're at home. They've been playing better football, specifically on defense. They're off a bye week. They're at home, and this is going to be a shootout, like you said. And Detroit has shown some weaknesses, specifically in pass defense, and then also their offense hasn't been what it's been cracked up to be, and it hasn't lived up to the hype. So on one side, I could see, why it's 4.5 for New Orleans. Drew Brees hasn't thrown a pick. They haven't even turned the ball over. New Orleans, they've got rid of Adrian Peterson. They can play Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram more. So I could see why it's 4.5. But I'm also with you. I'm taking the 4.5 for Detroit. I bet on this with my real money, just so you guys know, so that we're not just playing you here. Detroit, I think, is just like you said, the better overall team. And I think when it comes down to it, when one defense is going to need to make a stop, I think it's going to be Detroit's defense with that secondary. And I think they are going to be able to force a turnover or two in this game, even though the Saints haven't given it up. It's about time. It's been a few games. And I think that Detroit, when they have in this season, we've seen their defense kind of play really well. They've only really played poorly in one game this season. So I think that the Detroit defense, they have a decent pass rush. I think their secondary with Darius Slay, they should be able to match up on Michael Thomas pretty well. I think Willie Snead will be a bit of an issue, but I think that the Saints in Detroit, they'll be going back and forth on the scoreboard. Detroit, I am a bit concerned with the way that they haven't been scoring as many points as you would think that they would be scoring.
Yeah, true.
But the thing that I like about Detroit is they do have somewhat of a running game this year, and I think that will help them against the Saints and kind of help in time of possession and keeping this game close. And all the time, even with Detroit, even if they're losing by a touchdown or 10 points or even 2 touchdowns, as we saw in the Carolina game, Matt Stafford's a couple plays away from making this a close game. So even if it's a backdoor cover, which I don't think it will be, they have the capability of doing that because of Matt Stafford. I think this is going to be a Matt Stafford versus Drew Brees game, like you said. And I just think it's going to come down to, that 4. It's going to be between, I think, a 4 and 3 point spread. It's rather going to be a touchdown at the end of the game, putting a team up by 4, or a field goal at the end of the game to win it. So that's the way I see this game going either way. But I think that I like the Detroit bet definitely because they've been so far this season been playing the better football.
No, and like you said, I could see the backdoor cover too as maybe New Orleans up by 10 and, Detroit scores with a minute left or something to make it that 3-4 point game. Like you said, that is another option. That's why just putting money on this and betting with the spread, this game is not really about having Detroit win outright. It's just the spread looks good enough that it should be close and that you still can win some money without, Detroit having to win the game.
Okay, so that was my second bet of the week. My first bet of the week is Denver minus 11.5. I think that's currently what it's at. For Denver, I just have no possible way in my mind. I don't know how the Giants are going to move the ball past the midfield. I don't know how that's going to happen. They can't run the ball, although they have been a little bit better at that, so I'll give them credit with the multiple different backs that they've been using. But Denver has been the best team against the run this season. They have Talib, they have Harris, they have Roby on the outside. Who and the Giants are going to get open for this game?
Roger Lewis.
Yeah, Roger Lewis. Odell Beckham's out. Sterling Shepard's out. Brandon Marshall's out. The only guy that they can really throw to with any regularity in this game is Evan Ingram, and they're going to put multiple guys probably on him. Talib and Chris Harris could just, they don't even have to worry about safeties in this game. They can just have them right at the line of scrimmage. I don't see, again, how Eli, with no mobility, the offensive line is trash. Von Miller is going to kill their tackles. I don't know how the Giants are going to score a point. Then you look on the other side. The Giants defense hasn't really played up to what we expected from it. I think that it has been a little bit lackluster. DRC is suspended. That obviously hurts them. And I think that the defensive line hasn't been as good with getting pressure on quarterbacks. Trevor Siemian's been amazing at home. Again, this game's in Denver. And I think, Emmanuel Sanders, Demaryius Thomas, those two guys should have decent games overall. But I think it's really going to come down to their running game with CJ Anderson, Jamal Charles. It's been good all season. And I just think Denver's going to chip away on offense. They'll have a couple big drives in the game. I think it's going to be like a 31-7 game. I don't think this game is going to be close at all. And maybe I'll be wrong, but I just don't see schematically and on paper how this game could be close.
The only thing I'll say, I have this game as well. But I guess if we're talking about things that do scare me, it's besides that Dallas game, the offense has been decent for Denver. But if we look at their close game, they played a lot of close games this season. Obviously, they only won by 6 against Oakland, 10 against the Bills. Or no, they lost to the Bills, right? They won big. They won big in the Cowboys, and then they only beat the Chargers on the very first game of the season by 3. So I think for them to cover, which I think they're going to be able to do, they're going to have to get like a defensive touchdown, they're going to have to get a lot of turnovers from that Giants offense to give, their offense good field position. Because I'm still not sold. We've seen things from Siemian that we like, but we've also seen some bad things that, the Giants defense is still somewhat good. I think
here's a key stat. Here's a key stat, AC. The Giants defense is 29th against the run.
Yeah, and that's going to be huge because
the Broncos are 3rd rushing the ball.
Well, and we've seen too, I think Anderson last year kind of, hurt his, I guess, reputation in a lot of guys' eyes because obviously going into that season, a lot of people took him high fantasy-wise, and he wasn't that great last year. But yeah, he's emerged a lot. You still have those good pieces. A decent O-line. They did add to that O-line.
It's better this year than it was
right?
Because
they did add, they added Leary.
Ronald Leary was a big add.
Bowles in the draft, who's been starting now. Everything points for them to cover. Because, like you said, it comes down to it. How can you really trust this New York offense to score any points? The only way New York covers if it's a 17-10 game or 17-6 or something. You know what I mean? Like something weird like that, and you get screwed over by that half point. It's going to be very close to the spread, if anything. But like you said, Denver should have no problem just picking away and getting points in bunches against this Giants team.
And the thing with the Giants offense, and it's not like the Giants offense is like, I feel the Packers offense, it's based around the same concept where it's very player reliant. And when they don't have those players in there, it's not really a great system. Like, it's not like Josh McDaniels is in there. It's not like Sean McVay, Andy Reid. It's not like these guys are in there calling these plays. It's freaking Ben McAdoo that just says, okay, OBJ, you're going to have to run straight, and then we're going to have to see if we score a touchdown. And you're going to let Roger Lewis do the same thing. They're not creative to me, so I just don't see how they're going to move the ball. But like you said, maybe they get a special teams touchdown. Maybe they get a defensive touchdown. Maybe their defense shows up and plays amazing. That could happen. I just think the likeliness of that happening is not likely. So
yeah, and it's way more likely that Denver defense is going to score some points in that game for sure. I think if there was like a prop bet, you'd probably get like 3 to 1, maybe more for a defensive touchdown on Denver, because I think that's very likely to happen in that one. Plus, with those receivers and those corners, you can play press man all game and then blitz like 6 every time. And Eli Manning's going to be on his butt every single play against that defense, right? So
exactly.
Yeah, it's probably not looking good for the Giants.
Okay, so what is your bet number 2? Because obviously you have the Broncos, you have Detroit. Yep. So I guess it would be bet 3 for you.
I'm taking the Tampa Bay Bucks against Arizona in Arizona. You think the spread would be a little more in favor of Tampa Bay, but they're only favored by 1 point. I'm basing this more on what I saw against the Eagles. That Arizona Cardinals team does not look like they have anything going for them offensively. And the defense is not the same Arizona Cardinals defense we've seen the past 4 years. And I think with that defense, they've had some injuries, but it just seems like they're a bit off. Like the way the Eagles were able to move the ball against them. And I think looking at this game, we were all pretty high on Tampa Bay going into this season. This is a game they have to win, especially in a tough division because you still have New Orleans there. Atlanta's still going to do Atlanta things, in my opinion, throughout. And then obviously now Carolina is doing a lot better than people expected. So this is a game, if Tampa Bay wants to have a shot at the playoffs or be playing in some big games come November, December, they need to win this game. And I think they do. Winston was a little off, obviously, against the Patriots, but they're still very close to getting those plays from Deshaun Jackson. And I think Doug Martin, now that he's back, it's going to be his second, third week. He seems to be a little bit better. So I think they're going to be able to win this. And with 1 point, I think it's going to be an easy cover.
See, to me, I looked at that and I was like, yeah, I think Tampa Bay is going to win this game. But I'm not confident in Tampa Bay. There's something about Tampa Bay. Watched them last week. I've seen them all season because I was high on them coming into the year. But they haven't looked like what I thought they would look like. The one huge positive I will add to your point for Tampa Bay is that they're getting a lot of their key defensive players back. They're getting Alexander back, they're getting David back, and they're getting TJ Ward back. So that's huge for them. Obviously, that's 3 of their top 5 defensive players on their team. So that's big. But the thing about Tampa Bay is they've really struggled on the road. I don't really know what it is. It's in Arizona. And I don't know, like Arizona always pulls out these wacky games where they get like a punt return or like a pick six. And then I don't know, like maybe I'm just still too high on Arizona. But like I saw them they got smoked against Philly. It's tough for me. This is one of those games where I'm just not touching. I could totally understand why you're taking Tampa Bay. They look like the better team. They're the more talented team. The other team has Carson Palmer. It makes a lot of sense to me, but at the same time, I just don't have a good feeling about this one.
True. Yeah, no, and I totally can see that. I just look at it, and when I see them as a 1-point favored against a team that hasn't really shown anything at all. But like you said, a lot of people still, and I was high on Arizona at the beginning of the season. It's kind of like that Seahawks effect in a way where, obviously Seahawks are doing decent, but there's still, when you bet for the Seahawks or bet against the Seahawks, it's still iffy because you're just like, you just don't know when they're gonna get back to that Russell Wilson offense, or when is that Cardinals defense going to get back to that Cardinals defense we've seen. When's Palmer going to get back to at least be able to game manage? And I still think without David Johnson, this team has just, I feel, lost a lot of hope. But Peterson is playing, right? Peterson will play. I don't think it helps him that much.
I mean,
but
he sucks.
Because that Buccaneers D-line is maybe not underrated, because it is great. And I think they get a lot of pressure. And I think Gerald McCoy obviously gets a lot of hype, but I think Gerald McCoy is what Fletcher Cox was maybe last year and the year before. Because he's had a lot of hype, but
Gerald McCoy's been good every year he's played in the NFL.
He's been good every year, but when you do watch him this season, he still hasn't had – he's not playing like Aaron Dalton and Fletcher Cox this season, like just pushing guys into the quarterback. Yes, he's still a great player, but we still haven't seen Gerald McCoy be the Gerald McCoy that we all know he can be, where you're just pushing a guard 6 yards back every play. Mm-hmm. But obviously he can get to that. And plus that D-line, their secondary is decent. I just think 1 point against Arizona, I got to take it.
All right, man. For me, it's the Chargers. And you guys know I love the Chargers, but I'm taking the Chargers here. They're plus 3.5 at this moment in time. They are playing the Oakland Raiders. Yes, it's in Oakland, but I picked the Chargers to win this game straight up. I just don't have a good feeling about the Raiders. I just don't think they're a good team. I picked them to go 8-8 this year. the Raiders. And for me, I think the Chargers are better than their record. A lot of times people say their record shows how good they are. But we've been saying they are better than their record. They had a couple of games where they should have won or should have, it was within 3 points, which is what the spread is. And they're playing a worse team than they've been playing this season. I also look at the Raiders. Derek Carr is banged up. He's going to be playing, but he's banged up. The Raiders had to miss multiple days of practice due to the whole, I think it was wildfires.
Yeah.
So they weren't able to practice all week. The big weakness on the Chargers defense is their run defense, which is one of the worst in the league. But the Raiders haven't been able to run the ball this season. So I don't see how that kind of like cancels each other out. I think Rivers is going to have a big day against the secondary. I just look at all the weapons that he has, and that offense has been pretty solid all year. But against the Raiders secondary that got lit up by like Joe Flacco and has been lit up by the Jets and other teams, I think that the Chargers, where Phillip Rivers has really been good against the Raiders over the course of his career, I think he's going to have another good day here. And in the end, it could become a shootout, but I've seen the Chargers cover so many times in these games where it's within 3 points at a field goal. They rather win, they rather lose. Usually they lose by a field goal, but hey, I got that half a point and I'll take it. And also I just Amari Cooper, where is he? Like, is he alive? Is he playing? Michael Crabtree, Kev always talks about how overrated he is, but they're going to have Casey Hayward on one of those guys. So one of those guys is going to be taken out of the game. It's going to be a matter of Derek Carr making plays with his other receivers around him. I still don't know if the Raiders have those guys. I'm still questioning that from last season to this season. I still don't know if they have those guys. So for me, I actually think the Chargers are the better team. I picked them to win straight up, and that's why I'm taking the points.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I'd be worried about that, I'm taking them as well. But this might be a game time decision I might change, because having Derek Carr in, it's, he wasn't that great the last couple games when he was even healthy. But I'd just be scared of that, right? Because we know what Derek Carr and that offense is capable of. And we've seen, obviously, the first 2 games of the season when their offense looked to be rolling. And I guess it took a lot off their defense because their defense didn't have to do too much. That's the only thing I'm scared. Right now I'm taking the Chargers, but this is one of these games where because I pick every game against the spread in a money pool I'm in. So right now I got the Chargers plus 3.5 because I do like that half point. And the Chargers have shown that they play close games no matter who they play. But I'm going to have to make a decision tomorrow, I think, about this one. But first glance at the game, I took the Chargers. But I'm starting to second guess it a bit because of Carr playing.
I just don't think that, like, they haven't been on rhythm really outside of maybe the second game of the season. I don't know. Like, first, second game, they were pretty good. But outside of that, like, they played the Jets and they played the Titans. I think the Chargers are a better team. And neither of those teams had a pass rush like the Chargers. I mean, Melvin Ingram's been destroying people. Joey Bosa is great. So I think those two guys can kind of keep them in the game in the pass game. So I don't know. I think it's going to be really close no matter who wins. I'm just slightly with the Chargers because they've been playing better football as of late.
Yeah, and that's the thing I was about to mention too, is that momentum win against the Giants. I think that helps them out a lot too.
Yeah, because they have a slight belief that they can make this run back into the playoffs.
True.
So, even though it is slight, they have a chance. Okay, so those are our 4 bets.
No, I guess we have one more.
Yeah, right. One more.
Should we go to
Denver? I have Denver, Detroit, the Chargers. I have one more. What was your last bet?
My last one, it was tough this last one, but I'm still doing it because I don't think the Ravens are that good. And you kind of sold me on Trubisky, and I think you kind of sold me a bit on Trubisky. I'm not going to lie.
Okay. Why? What did I say about him that sold you?
No, because looking back, I saw more of the highlights and what he was doing, and he was just missing by a little bit. And I do think Howard's due, that run game is due for a big game. And I don't think they're going to win, but I think they're going to play close, and I think they cover the 6.5 points. And I think the Ravens, there was a lot of hype with them at the beginning of the season, or with the first couple games. People were like, "Oh, the Ravens had some good wins in the first couple games, not against elite talent, but their defense looked better." But then we've kind of seen them slowly go down. Chicago not having the receivers hurts, but I think
they don't have any receivers regardless.
That defense, you are right, that defense has been getting pressure. Their DBs are playing a lot better, and I think they're going to be able to run the ball on the Ravens, and I think they're going to be able to cover. I think the Ravens probably have a way better chance to win, but I think this is going to be a game where Trubisky now – this is just going to be an afternoon game on the road. This is kind of – if Trubisky gets it done, he's going to get it done in this game because there's going to be a lot less pressure in this game than there was on that Monday night.
I just think, like, the reason why I didn't take this, at first I looked at it, I'm like, with the Bears, Bears and Ravens are very similar teams. I think that they both kind of do the same thing. They're both pretty strong in the front seven, and that they'll probably try and run the ball a lot, and it will kind of just be a stalemate till the end. The Ravens will probably take it. But the reason I didn't bet on this is I just feel like Baltimore at home and specifically Chicago on the road has been really bad this year. And I know that Trubisky is playing, and I love Trubisky and everything. I just don't trust the Bears. They've been blown out twice on the road. So I didn't want to take that. But the Ravens another side of this, can the Ravens really blow anyone out? That's the question. Yeah, like, do they really have the offense to do that? I'm not quite sure. So I understand the bet. I get it. I think they're both similar teams, actually, and I think they're both. This is going to be a competitive game to the end, I think. Yeah. But we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be close. Like, I don't expect the Bears to win, but I do think 6.5 might be just enough.
All right. My final bet here is, of course, the Patriots. Now, I've been losing money on the Patriots this year. And actually, I bet on this a couple days ago. So I feel a little bit more uncomfortable today after we heard that Stephon Gilmore won't be playing against the Jets. But Gronk is back. I think that a lot of people looked at that Bucs Thursday night win as kind of like a poor win, or like a win that wasn't good enough. Actually, I did win money last week because I took the early spread. But, yeah, a lot of people looked at that win against the Bucs. Oh, they should have blown them out, this and that. But before the season, Patriots fans, including myself, were looking at that game as, oh, we could potentially lose that game because it's a Thursday on the road against a Bucs team that we thought would be pretty good. The defense definitely played a ton better in that game. The secondary was all over their receivers. In this game, it's the Jets. I mean, it's in New York, sure. It's a rivalry game, but the Patriots have been excellent on the road. A lot of people don't understand how good they've been. I know they're 8-0 in their last 8 road games, but I think on with the spread, it's like 6-1 or something, and I think it's 7-1, something like that. So they've been really good against the spread on the road this season and last season. And they've been really good on the road, period, winning games. Against the Jets, they've won a lot in a row. I don't remember the last time they lost to the Jets. I think it was that Ryan Fitzpatrick, like, overtime game. I think that was the last one. But this team, McCown, I just don't see how McCown, like, their third string running back, four bum receivers are really going to get it done against the Patriots. Sure, the Jets may be able to move the ball because the Patriots defense hasn't been too great. But if it plays the way it did last week, I think that they will be able to rise to the occasion and hold the Jets under 17 points. Then you look on the other side of things, I don't know how the Jets are really going to be able to contain this offense. They don't have a great pass rush. They have a lot of big guys that can stop the run. But like as we've seen this season, they haven't got a ton of rush. The Cleveland Browns dominated them last week. The Cleveland Browns should have won. I was laughing. I continually sent the stupid plays done by the Browns in the DMs to AC, Dylan, Kev, because they were turning the ball over in the 5-yard line. They were throwing picks. It seemed like the Browns had the ball the whole game, but the Browns dominated, and the Jets somehow won that game. Now, credit to the Jets, but if you're getting dominated the Browns, what's going to happen with Tom Brady and the Patriots? Gronk's back. I think that's going to be a huge issue for the Jets. Amendola's playing great. Hogan's playing awesome. They're going to have to put 2 guys on Cooks because I don't see how one guy's going to be able to contain him. And I just don't know. I just don't see how this Jets team is going to be able to keep this within 10 points. I think this is a huge game for the Patriots to really make a statement going into next week, because they play Atlanta next week, which is going to be a huge game in New England. And this week, I think this is a week for Bill to kind of get a lot of things right on their defense, on their offense, and they've had 10 days to prepare. So they're going to be able to come in and get that, get the preparation, get their game plan down. And I think for next week, they're going to be ready to play Atlanta. So I think this is a big tune-up game for the Patriots this week.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I was going to have this as my 5th pick. New England, I just think that the Jets aren't going to be able to keep up with New England. And I think if you've seen in their losses and even their close games, they're at least going against offenses against that New England defense that can actually put some points and somewhat keep up.
Yeah.
And maybe make the occasional stop against New England. I just don't think the Jets are going to be able to score enough points, and I don't think that Jets defense is going to be able to stop Brady enough. Like, this should be easily a 15 to 20 point win for the Patriots. And like you said, these are the games too. I think, what we've seen from the Patriots, they don't like when people start doubting them. And when you play a game like this against the Jets, when you haven't been playing well, it should be a blowout. And I think they're going to have something to prove. And I think you're going to see a lot of Tom Brady. And it's tough to bet against Tom Brady. His defense hasn't helped him out, but still, his numbers are the best they've ever been, even with 2 losses. So he knows how to play against that team. So we'll see what happens, but I think it's an easy, 15 to 20 point win.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see, Patriot fans, what happens. But again, like you said, look at the offenses that they've played so far. They've played the Chiefs. Obviously, they played the Saints. They played the Texans and Watson, who's been really hot as of late. They played the Panthers, and they played the Bucs. And those are all pretty good offenses on paper, at least. And all of them rank amongst the tops in the league. But the thing is they played obviously terrible defense, specifically against the Chiefs, Texans, and Panthers, where they literally played some of the worst football I've ever seen a defensive team ever play in my life. Like, that was like Saints 20, 14 bad. So hopefully, it's more like last week, and we'll see. And it's the Jets. Are they really going to be able to even expose them, even if they do play like that? So we'll see. But that is my 4th bet. What is your 5th bet, where it's kind of like, maybe you'll bet on it, maybe you won't?
New England, but I guess I'll add in. I was looking at Green Bay. I just think this is a good Green Bay team, and I know Keenum's been looking. I think that offense actually runs better with Keenum besides that first game Bradford played in.
You think it's better than with Bradford?
Well,
Bradford was hurt.
Hurt, but then I'm just saying, then the last couple of weeks, he's actually moved the ball well. And then what we saw from Bradford,
the thing about Case, though, he hasn't thrown a pick.
No, I know. And he's getting it to those talented wide receivers. We saw McKinnon run well. But like I've been saying all year, I think Green Bay's defense has improved, and I don't think Green Bay's defense will look good against this Minnesota offense. You know what I mean? Like, Green Bay's defense this season, when they've been playing kind of crappier, they've kind of
You think so?
made the right plays. They're still not great, but they've been
I'm surprised that this game is still -3 with Stephon Diggs out.
No, true. Yeah, exactly. But I'm just saying, like, even look at the Dallas. Like, Green Bay still made some stops. Like, their defense is very similar to maybe not the Eagles last year, but like, it's bend not break, right? They're not a top 20 defense. But with Rodgers, they know that they just need to make a couple key stops on 3rd down here and there, give Rodgers the ball back, and let him do his thing. But I do think that Green Bay is one of the elite teams, just Roger himself. I think if there's one team, obviously you could say that about Brady, but if there's just one team, one player that is the team, it's Rodgers, because what he does, like, he wins games, and he's handed the Vikings some losses, even with this new reemergence of their Vikings defense. Like, he still knows how to win against them. So I think if I was going to pick anything, it would be this one. And then I'd also look at Indianapolis against Tennessee on Monday.
I think that just to add to the Packers in general, I think they should be playing this Aaron Jones kid a little bit more.
Yeah. Well,
I like what I saw.
I think they're going to play him more, but I still think if you look at that offense with Montgomery, it's still the better option when Montgomery's healthy.
Is it though? Because Jones was running for 5 yards a clip, and Montgomery's running only for 3.5. So,
but Montgomery in the pass game too, like he's still.
No, I know, but I just think like Jones might be the better runner than Montgomery, but Montgomery can do both.
Yeah, I had Montgomery in fantasy, so I know what he did the first 2 weeks before he got injured. That he was producing. Obviously, and the thing with Montgomery too, this was really his only first full season as running back. I know. It started, so I just still, for my own fantasy ways too, I need Montgomery to be their starter, else I'm absolutely screwed in one of my leagues.
I don't really have a fifth game. If I had to pick one, I'm not a huge fan of the Atlanta one. Just going through the spreads, I'm not a huge fan of the 13 points. Seems like a little bit too much. Even though Miami does suck. Okay.
Houston, I don't mind.
Houston one kind of scares me. I don't know why. Houston's been playing great, but Cleveland with Hogan looked pretty good against the Jets. I know it was against the Jets, but
and how about this? Well, I know you're a fan of Washington. This is a must-win for Washington. This is what I kind of didn't mind this game because Washington really needs to win, and they need to win big in a way. They need something that they can't have a close win or even a loss.
You know what?
San Fran.
You know what? I'm gonna say the Chiefs. I'm gonna say the Chiefs. You know I don't love the Chiefs.
No, I know.
I've been hating on the Chiefs, AC.
Pittsburgh has got
-4 against Pittsburgh, who looks terrible. And Big Ben needs to retire.
Yeah. And we've seen, but he has no man. He's just doing it now because he knows that we've seen Landry Jones multiple times, and they don't have anyone, or even Dobbs. Like Dobbs in preseason didn't look that great. Like he needs the only reason he's playing because he doesn't want to let his team down. Because if he had a choice, if they had a good backup, he would not be playing right now. But he knew that those guys would totally trash the team, and that's why he continues to play.
I honestly think that if the Chiefs want to prove their top dog, they need, like Kev said, they need to smash the Steelers in this game.
I don't think they have to smash the Steelers. The only way
they need to win by multiple touchdowns. They need to win by 14.
I don't think
to prove their top dog.
It depends how Pittsburgh plays, though. If that Pittsburgh offense starts to click, obviously, what we've seen from the Chiefs, it's going to be very hard for that Pittsburgh defense to be able to stop the Chiefs.
Yes, I think so too.
I'm just saying, if we kind of see some sort of reboot of the Pittsburgh offense that we've seen
without Ben, Ben's been terrible down the field this year. I think he's completed 2 passes over 20 yards.
Yeah, No, he's forcing passes, and you know what too? That one game against the Jaguars, if you watch it, I think that AB hissy fit really got in Ben's head as well. Because if you look at that game, some of those picks were forcing it to AB. Like, okay, let's just get it to AB. And I think that whole hissy fit, when they're winning a game, he says he needs the ball more. I think that got into Ben's head that he's like, okay, I got to make this right. I got to start getting AB the ball. And I think he forced it a bit too many times instead of just going with the flow and hitting guys that are actually open. Because 2 of those were forced. And then deflections, INTs. A couple of them were horrible reads, but out of the 5, 3 of them, I wouldn't say were his fault.
And the Chiefs don't have Bouye and Ramsey, but they are decently creative with their zone coverages. And I think that they could catch Ben in a couple of situations there where he's throwing some picks down the field, but we'll see.
You know what?
That would be my 5th pick if I had to.
You know what, though? If you're doing your start 'em, sit 'em, Bryant, because we've seen Mitchell. He's been good at times. He's helped them win games, but he's also been really bad because Peters is going to be able to lock down AB to a certain extent. But we've seen Mitchell because the Chiefs have been on and people have been watching the Chiefs. Mitchell, yes, he's made some key plays and key times, but for the majority of the game, he's not great.
No, I agree. So our picks this week, let's just go over it. Who do you have as your 5 picks?
I have Detroit, 4.5. I have Tampa Bay, -1 against Arizona. I have Denver, -11.5 in New York, and I have Chicago +6.5 versus Baltimore.
Okay, for me, I have Denver -11.5, which was my top bet. Then I have Detroit +4.5, the Chargers +3.5, New England -9, and then Kansas City -4. So those are our 5 picks. Let's get to the chat. There's a lot of people in there.
Wait, this is the last chat. I quickly got to get this because Chiefs fan just said it. Okay, but we beat the Eagles, so shut up and bow down to Alex Smith. Chiefs fan hasn't been watching at all because
he must not be watching because AC like literally puts his Eagles jersey on, talks about the Eagles, gets his Chiefs jersey on, then puts it on, talks about the Chiefs. That's literally what happens in our videos.
No, it was a great game against the Eagles, and I got nothing because like I'm been a huge Chiefs fan because I'm a huge Andy Reid fan, and I've just been the #1 Chiefs fan on the Bottom Line View by 1,000%. I mean, huge what Chiefs.
Jake was obviously a huge Chiefs
fan. Exactly.
He's gone. So
yeah.
All right. Let's get to it. Chauncey says, "Brother Nero, I knew you'd come." Kill'em Boys says, "Stephon Gilmore is out, guys, and Rex Burkhead is out for this 4th straight game." I didn't know Burkhead was out again. I thought he was going to be playing. Stephon Gilmore, it doesn't really matter, though. I do want to say to Kill'em Boys, they need to be playing Lewis more.
Yeah.
So I don't really care that Burkhead is not playing. Stephon Gilmore is out with a concussion, Burkhead with ribs, so don't bet on them to play. Kind of disappointing. I also forgot Harvey Longy is out with a back injury because of a car accident. I hope he gets better. Not that he's a huge part of the team because he's a special teamer, but hopefully he gets better because he's in a car accident. It seemed pretty bad. I hope, he is a young player. And by the way, if anyone knows the Uso brothers from WWE, the guy looks exactly like them. Like it's weird. What else we got? Kill'em Boy says, "People are betting on the Jags to win this week. I've been saying no every other week they win." Because he says that he picked them to beat the Steelers last week, and he wears his $100 to Steelers Nation because he bet $100 apparently with somebody on this chat, I guess.
I don't think that's legally binding, dude.
Killer Boy says Tampa Bay offense is about to be in lockdown. City clamps. Patrick Peterson will destroy Mike Bob Evans.
Yeah, no, it's going to be. Yeah, I see that happening as well, but I just still think that Winston, if he doesn't throw interceptions, I still think that he's going to be able to move the ball against that defense. And I do think the bigger issue is I just think Tampa Bay's defense is going to be able to hold Arizona to very few points.
I want the Giants to lose so they can be 0-6, but they're going to sneak this one out. Really? Okay. This is about to be Eli's 5th best career win. 2 of them was against the Pats. Thanks for the reminder. Ultra says, "I think Tampa will win. The Bucks 19, Cardinals 14. All right. That would work for AC. Kill'em Boy says, "In my opinion, the Eagles and Chiefs is like 2015 Panthers. That same year, the Chiefs went 0-5, then 11-5. That's funny Giants motivation." This guy only makes sense half the time he's talking, I think. Kill'em Boy says, "AC, Mitch has been grumpy this week. Do you agree?"
No, that was last week. No, I was just grumpy.
I'm a little sick this week, so maybe.
No, the last two weeks though, I'm out here and my girlfriend's in the room, and she said I have to be nicer to you guys.
Nah, be meaner.
No, it's because the last 2 weeks I just like all of a sudden wasn't even supposed to be on the recap, and I just show up and be like, "You're fucking lying."
And then he doesn't show up when we ask him. He's like, "Nah, I gotta drink."
And then I watched like I'm not thinking I'm gonna make the recap, and then I start watching, and I get so pissed off. I'm like, "Fuck this! I'm going on." Everyone's agreeing with each other.
Yeah. LA Rams channel says, "F the Seahawks, they're trash." Kill'em Boy says Chargers to the playoffs. Ultra says Raiders 27, Chargers 21. I hope not. Ultra says my Super Bowl prediction is Chiefs Packers. Kill'em Boy says Josh Norman is still injured. I believe he's the best corner right after Jalen Ramsey and AJ Bouye and Malcolm Butler. Why did you just say he's like the 5th best corner? Ultra says, originally I had Los Angeles winning. What was it? Los Angeles winning, but I'm changing it to Oakland, although you guys made a good point in picking the Chargers.
Yeah, that was kind of that's what I'm kind of going through.
Killin Boy says Titans is the worst team. Ravens defense will dominate this game. Unless Cohen or Howard rush for 200 yards, the Ravens will win.
I think they're going to get Cohen involved a bit more, because that's the one thing I did notice that in that, maybe like I said in the recap,
I think they will against so the Ravens.
Trubisky. I think just the Chicago's play calling wasn't great, and when you have a rookie QB, I think they switched things up with now a full week to prepare. With Trubisky, second game, I think their offense changes a little bit to put Trubisky in the best potential to succeed.
Connolly for the Chiefs is a beast, underrated. Yeah, that's going to be an underrated loss. We talked about that. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see who steps up for them. They have a lot of different players, but I really thought, like, after I saw that injury, I kind of think that they're going to go to more like 2 tight ends, because I do like that Demetrius Harris is a pretty good player. And I don't really know like all their receivers. I think they have the Wilson.
I think, yeah,
but he's more of a slot guy though, isn't he?
Yeah, but he still's got some length though, right?
Yeah, it's just I don't really know their depth chart in terms of, because I knew their top 3. I didn't know their 4th guy, which.
Yeah, I just thought like Wilson's still like I think 6'2". No, maybe I might be wrong.
Yeah, he's just always played in the slot, so it would be interesting to see if he plays outside or what they do with that. Ultra says Patriots 28, Jets 13. Sounds kind of accurate. Says New England is struggling, but they lost to 2 good teams, and the Jets have beat 3 trash teams apart from maybe the Jags, but they were close to losing to the Jags. Good logic. Oh, here we go with the Seahawks-Rams fight again. What else we got? Steelers or Chiefs pick. We picked the Chiefs. Yep. Ultra says Brady throws 4 touchdowns against the Jets. Killin Boy says Green Bay is overrated. I'm on your side.
No, I get that a lot.
Even though I think that the league isn't great, so they're good in this league, but I still think they're overrated.
But when you say the Packers are overrated, I think if the team may be overrated, like the way they're winning. Yes,
team is overrated, but Aaron Rodgers makes them better than they are.
Exactly, but I just don't think that's the what he showed this year is that he's good enough to do whatever he wants out there.
I did pick them to beat the Cowboys, though.
Oh, I did.
Yeah,
but that was too. Sometimes I pick against the Cowboys too because I'm an Eagles.
Vikings will not have a great receiving core without Diggs. I agree with that. I don't know, like Treadwell and Michael Floyd. Aaron Rodgers is in the chat, not spelt correctly. Says, I'm a Packers fan, but did your fat ass say Packers D is improving? Hell no. You're wrong. Cowboys scored every possession. I won the game, not the D, says Aaron Rodgers.
That's a good point, but I don't think they scored every possession, so you're wrong. They did not score every possession, so if you're kind of come with some facts, I was wrong, but then you just were wrong as well, so, you know.
Good to see AC, says Predator.
What up?
Kill'em Boys says, I'm going to be disappointed of the Eagles are overrated. What? Okay, at the end of the year, they're going to be 5-11, he says.
No, so I think he's saying I'm going to be disappointed if the Eagles are overrated.
Oh.
I think that he's not saying that's going to happen.
Okay.
He's going to say he's going to be disappointed if the Eagles are overrated and they end up going 5-11.
I don't think they're going to go 5-11, even if they're overrated. Connor says, how about them Eagles?
Oh, yeah.
How about them Chiefs, says Chiefs fan?
Yeah, Chiefs are great, too.
Ultra says, congrats, AC. Connor says, Andy Reid and Kareem Hunt are carrying the Chiefs. I think Alex Smith has something to do with that as well.
Yeah.
WWE, The Shield. also known as Dilly Vanilli, says Cowboys, Cowboys, Cowboys. Chiefs not losing because Travis Kelce and Chris Connolly are playing. Connolly's not playing. Is he? He's out for the year, right?
Maybe
Ultra
not.
said the team that's defense literally couldn't sack Aaron Rodgers when it mattered. All right.
Ooh. Shot against the Cowboys there.
Yep. Those are our picks against the spread. Thank you guys for joining us here live on the Bottom Line View. Make sure you tune in tonight if you're a hockey fan to the Vancouver Canucks, Calgary Flames recap. Don't worry. Even if you're not a hockey fan, I'm starting to lose my voice here. Don't worry about it. Kevel, Fitty Trent, it doesn't matter. They're just going to be going at it. So even if you're not a hockey fan, tune into that recap because they're going to be yelling at each other. So that's going to be a lot of fun to watch, regardless of if you know what they're talking about or not. So make sure you tune into that tonight. Tomorrow morning, the guys will have on the NFL Sunday AM Live. I'll be on a plane, so I won't be able to be on it. But they'll have that going. Dylan and Kev, at least. AC usually can't make that, but those two guys will be on there. And Sunday Night Football recap as well. Broncos, that's not going to be fun. Giants, and a lot more on the Bottom Line View. Hopefully I can get my stardom and sit them out tonight. Been trying. I have a lot of homework too. So thanks, guys, for joining us. Peace out.